Welcome to Study Guide 14. Very excited about the upcoming week. Going to be a continuation of the biblical theology that we looked at on Thursday. We want to study a few new things, so this is our study guide. As always, I want you to listen to the MP3 of Genesis 1. Please don't neglect that. This will help you hear the right pronunciation. It'll go over the text of Genesis 1. Carefully read full of chapter 14. It gives a thorough explanation of all the things we're going to go over. I'll give you the summary. He'll give you the fuller picture. In terms of our translation for today, we'll look at Ezekiel 47, 1-7, and then we'll look at verse 12. Let me add this. The study guide. We'll also look at Psalm 1, 1-3. We did that in class. This will be a review. And the biblical theology of Revelation 22, 1-2. When you get tired in your study, you want to try to volume read as much as you can, 1-1-2-14. If you can only get 7 verses, do 7 verses. If you can do 17, do 17. If you can do all of them, do all of them. That passage will be on the midterm, and so you look at it as you're studying now for that. In terms of what we'll actually do this week, we'll look at two things: the meaning of the piel, and then the use of key. So, as always, we'll do review. Just remind you there are 420,000 words in the Hebrew Bible. These are the top ones. It comes from a Logos document. I just created the top words in order, and this is simply translated from that. So the review words: yashav, sit or dwell. Echad, we've had yom echad, so that should be straightforward. Im, if, it can mean when, but if is the primary meaning. Moot is die. Some people think of that's a moot point. Think that's a misuse of the word moot, but that may be your mnemonic device. You want to learn this word: Allah, go up. Moshe is straightforward. Sham, that's word used all kinds of places. Shana, year. David, David. It's all straightforward and all review. Shalach, to send. A call, eat. We've had okale in Genesis 1. Im, I would go with here. This is the word Emmanuel, the part of that word. God is im, with us. 8 can mean with. Notice that's the third use we've learned of that. Yada is know or learn. Isha, feminine version of man, so this is woman. Mitzrayim is Egypt, and for some reason that's in the dual. Ayin, ayin is really the word eye, but it also is the word spring, so eye and spring were the same word in Hebrew. Shem is name. Of course, we get Shem, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Eved, you can recognize from Avad, the root. Shanaim is 2, and notice it's a dual, as you would expect. Ahar is after. It can mean backside. Kara, first use of kara is to proclaim out loud. Ella, we've had that in Ella Toledoth, these are, and Yehudah. So straightforward. So we've reviewed the first 75 words. Now we're in the new words. So ma'al is above. Of course, we had that in Genesis 1 with the waters from above. Room is high or haughty. Av Ram, exalted father or high father. Pana is turn. So I look at that and I see the word face, and faces turn. I don't know if they are related, but that's my mnemonic device. Kavod. This really is a word glory. It means weight or heaviness or honor. Verb, kavod. So great root to remember. 305, shahat, be spoiled, ruin. When I think of this word, I think of the word destruction. It's used in Genesis 6 with all mankind has destroyed themselves and God will destroy. I think it's used in Psalm 14 and Psalm 53 as well. Kasa, cover. You may have to come up with a mnemonic device for that. I don't know if you can picture the Cossacks covering themselves. I don't know if that will help you or not. Navi is prophet, to act as prophet, to speak as prophet. Halal, the first halal is the first use, begin. It's also that same root is related to the word profane. So you begin to profane something is my mnemonic device. Asar is 10. We've had the feminine version of that, so this should be easy. This is the masculine version. Saraf, to me, is a very interesting word. It's related to the word seraphim in Isaiah 6. The problem is seraphim elsewhere in the Hebrew Bible were used of the burning snakes that afflict Israel in the desert. And so why are are these creatures on fire? If they are on fire, why are they on fire? Why are they in God's presence? Why do they have to do what he commands them to do? All of that is just stunning when you come to Isaiah 6, and I'm not sure anyone has the answer, but it's very intriguing. Vayhi erev, vayhi boker yom echad. That's your mnemonic device here. And there was evening and morning, day one. Shavav, go around. Navach, or to rest or settle. Av Shalom. Do you see that's father of Shalom, father of peace? Who is anything but a father of peace? Bilti is not. Zabach is slaughter. Mizbeach is altar, so this is like slaughter on an altar. Manasseh, you can see that's very close to the word Moses, just one letter, but this is Manasseh. Pen is lest. Yitzhak looks like the verb form he laughs, or meaning of his name. Aram. Chemor is he-ass. I wonder if it carries the connotation in English that the word jackass carries, because when Dinah is raped by Shechem, Shechem means the shoulder. Shechem's father is Chemor, and you wonder if there's some kind of artistry there that these are difficult people. Radaf, follow or pursue. Gibeah, so we get Gibeah from it, which means hill. Naga is touch or reach, and shabar is break. Shabar in the PO we're going to see is smashed to pieces. So straightforward. Do those 25, review the 50 to 75, and so those will all be on the quiz. When we look at the charts, as always, go over the call. Katal, katla, katalta, katalt, katalti, katlu, kataltim, kataltin, katalnu, yiktol, tiktol, tiktol, tiktali, ektol, yiktalu, tiktolna, tiktalu, tiktolna, niktol. Of course, the imperative is simply take the performative off the imperfect and you have the imperative. The infinitive, learn these forms. The absolute has the longer form in the call. Participle, cotail, feminine participle, cotalet. The call passive, which, we call the nifal, the call passive, but the call actually has a passive participle, katul. Vav consecutive, vayiktol. Jasiv, simply sometimes a shorter form of the imperfect. Cohortative, let me do this or let us do this. Now, today we're learning the PL. So the PL, the simplest definition of the PL is that it's some kind of intensification from the call. So if katal is kill, katal is like kill the daylight, so it's like just obliterate. That meaning won't hold true for everything, but it's a nice starting place. And when I type these in, I don't know how to make the letters red, so I couldn't do the ones that are different. But if you'll notice, in the PL, the first syllable has the heric. So if you look down here, every single one has the heric in the perfect. And then it goes, and then notice the middle radical is doubled. So that's why they call this the D stem, the doubled stem. So the middle radical is doubled. So it's kitel, kitela, kitalta, kitalti, kitalt, kitalti, kitlu. So that's a vocal schwa. So the kit is one syllable and the te is a second syllable. So when you have a doubled letter, these are vocal schwas. Kitelu, kitaltim, kitaltin, kitalnu. So if you write it out, same endings as your call, doubled middle radical, and then heric in the first syllable, and then it alternates between tail, vocal schwa, and the A-class vowel. So straightforward, same thing with the imperfect. Yikatel, tikatel, tikatel, tikateli, yikatel, yikatelu, so that's a vocal schwa, tikatelna, tikatelu, tikatelna, nikatel. So double middle radical in all of them. Imperative, made the same way. You take the performative off. The infinitive absolute is simply the double middle radical. The participle has a prefix me, and then a double middle radical. Vav consecutive, what you would think it would be. Jussive is the imperfect form, and the cohortative, just what you expect. So this is Van Pelt's chart. I wish I had a way to show you the paper version of Van Pelt, and I really encourage you to get it, because the paper version, here I'll hold it up, see if you can see it here. I don't know if you can see that, but he actually has the different things in red. So in the printed version of it, the red will show you what's different. In the computer version, the red vowels don't come through, but what you do is you do have a bolding of the letters, but it's less effective, I think, than the written one. If you look at the written one, it's very good, and I encourage you to get expensive. Furtado has a great chart, and you can see here similar. Perhaps that helps you get it too. The demonstratives will review ze, zo, ella, who, he, hema or haim, chena or chain. So, straightforward, not too much new. I'm not going to make you write out the PL, but you do want to try to get some of the clues that you do have a PL. That double middle radical is important. The I class vowel in the first syllable in the perfect, and the schwa under the imperfect preformative. All those are things that I look for. If I see any of those, I start thinking, well, is this a PL? So what we want to do is look at Ezekiel 47, 1-7, verse 12, and then we're going to look at Psalm 1-3, and the point I'm trying to make is that Psalm 1 is presenting the godly man as the tree of life, and Ezekiel is having a vision of this godly man, and so you want to look at that and think about what that might mean in terms of biblical theology. In terms of reading, so we want to have a layout here, and I've done this classroom layout. You showed it to me actually, that text together, and I've linked my Nestle Aland 28 together with Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, and what that means is I can type in a reference, old or new, and it will automatically pull it up, whether it's Hebrew or whether it's Greek, and that's kind of a nice feature. And as soon as I get this to show up, we'll do the reading. I think I'm there. There we go. So what we want to do, I think I have so much running on this that it's computer up a little bit. Let me close some of the things and see if that will help. That's one of the problems with Logos. It's sometimes it'll crash your computer. I found that you have to buy a new computer about every 2 years to keep the memory up, and so here we are. So as always, I like having this ACOT open. Then he brought me to the entryway of the house. So this is a consecutive Hifil imperfect. I think it's actually from the shuv word that it's in our vocabulary today. He returned me back to the entryway of the house, and behold, Mayim, waters. There were waters, Yotzim, so that's your participle from Yatzah. Me tachath, from underneath. That's that same word we had in Genesis 1. From underneath the opening. or the threshold of the bayit, of the temple. So this is a picture of a heavenly temple. It takes place in 572 or something like that. The temple had been destroyed 15 years, and yet he's seeing a temple. So is it a heavenly temple or something? But he's seeing this temple, and he's looking at it from the east. If you go to the ESV Study Bible, the ESV Study Bible has a great map of Ezekiel's temple, and it marks every place where the prophet is when he sees everything. It's only when you look at that and when you draw it out that you realize he's describing a cube. So this Ezekiel's temple is probably the Holy of Holies or something like that. And so he's seeing water because the faces of the temple were east. We would say that the temple faces east. And the waters were yarading, going down from underneath. And then this is the word, the side of the house, the right side of the house, from before the altar. So the temple is pictured as having a river. Now, why that's interesting to me, last week we did all the Garden of Eden language, and we're going to see that, and we saw last week that John in Revelation 22 is interacting with this vision in Ezekiel 47. But the two things he adds is that the tree that's going to be described here, in fact, is the tree of life, and the river is actually the river of life. And I think it's the ESV Study Bible, when they describe this, they actually label it the tree of life, and the river of life. And I think that's right, that they're drawing us to the whole Eden language and the material in Revelation. So verse 2 says, and he brought me. So just like the angel is bringing John all around the heavenly temple and they're measuring everything, this angel is bringing Ezekiel out. So he brought me out, and you see here is the consecutive hiphil imperfect. So there's your vav consecutive. And then this formative, he brought me out. He brought me out the way of the gate, the north gate. And he made me turn. Is that not our word from today, Savav? He made me turn the way of the outside. So I guess that means the outer way, to the gate outside. The way that was facing, do you see, that's our word from today, turning toward Kadim, turning toward the east. And behold, the waters were trickling. And remember how we talked about the Gihon. Matter of fact, I have a picture, I think, if you would like to see the Gihon. It's just a tiny thing, and if you go to Jerusalem, you can walk through it. At least that's what they were going to let us do in 93. We ended up not going through because it had been very rainy, and they were afraid we'd get in there and the water would go up and we would drown. But normally, it isn't very big, and I have a picture from the inside of the Gihon. I think this was a little YouTube presentation that I had done. So think I'm hanging my computer up again. If you go on the internet, you can get the pictures. Just type in the Gihon, and you can get a picture of the inside, but it's just trickling little water, just nothing. And so this water is trickling, and I think it's wanting us to connect that with the little small fountain that feeds the Gihon. So behold, the water was trickling from the threshold, from the side, shoulder, whatever you want to say, that was on the right. And verse 3, we're going to verse 7. And when the man went out, so I think this is the call infinitive construct in the going out of the man. When the man went out on the east, Kav, so this is the measuring rod, a Kav was in his hand, and he measured 1,000 cubits. So cubit is 18 inches, 1,000 cubits would be 1,500 feet. 1,500 feet is 5 football fields. So gold line to gold line, five of those in the cubit. And he made me cross over the waters, and it was waters of the ankles. So it was ankle deep. So I walked 5 football fields, and the little trickling water was ankle deep. And 4, repeating vocabulary, measured 1,000 feet, and he made me cross over the waters, and the waters were knees. So the water was knee deep. So this is 10 football fields, which is, what's that, a mile, I guess, almost a mile. And he measured 1,000, and he made me cross over, and they were waters of the loins. So I guess this is like waist deep, or a little higher than waist deep. And he measured another 1,000, and it was a river which no one was able to cross because the waters were rising. They were waters of the swimming of the river. And I guess that's how you say it was so deep you had to swim in it, and it was not able to be crossed. So not only is it getting deeper, but I think it's picturing a rushing torrent of water. I've been beside the Colorado River before when they let the water out of the dam, and you know, before they let the water out, you know, you could easily swim across the Colorado River at places, and, you know, it's not moving very rapidly, but when they let that water out and, you know, you're standing there, it looks like the water is actually higher than your head, and it's moving so fast, and you think if I get in that, I would be washed away. And that's a picture Ezekiel is wanting us to have with this river, but it's only been, you know, like 2 miles. Within 2 miles, it goes from trickling water to this mighty torrent that would, you know, wash your house away. So it seems like it's not a normal river to me. It seems like it's that whole Eden River. And he said to me, O son of man, Ben Adam, do you see? And I think this is an interrogative, hey, plus the call perfect. So, do you see, O son of man? And he led me, and he turned me back to the lip of the river. And when he turned me, so this is Again, an infinitive construct. So in the turning me, when he turned me, even behold, to the lip of the river, there was a Eitz Rav Me'od, a great big tree from this side and this side. So I think it's, when they go back to the upper water, there's a tree there. And then when we come down to verse 12, it says, and on the river there would grow on the banks, on its lips, from this side and this side, every tree for food. Can you hear the Eden language there? And its leaf will not become foolish, will not wither. Now, what's interesting to me about that is that's almost a verbatim quote from Psalm 1. And Psalm 1 is talking about the righteous man, so is this picture somehow tied in with the righteous man? And it will give, so this is Natan, and the new has been assimilated, and it will give its fruit toward its months. And if we pull up ACOT here, so there you see the wither. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. It will not fail. It's not from the Tan, it's from Tamam. It will not fail its fruit per month. It will bakar. It will have fresh fruit because of the water that comes from the sanctuary. So this heavenly water will grow this fruit that will be produced monthly. Of course, when you go to Revelation, that's how he's describing the tree of life coming out, and its fruit will be for food, and its leaf will be for healing. So it's clear that this is more, this vision that Ezekiel has is somehow significant. Now, if we just go to Psalm 1 and look at the first 3 verses, blessed is the man, blessed things of the man, blessedness of the man, who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or in the way of sinners he does not stand, and in the seat of mockers he does not sit. Notice the progression: walk, stand, sit. Rather, ki'im, rather, in the Torah of Adonai is his delight, and on his Torah he mulls it over day and night. He will be like Ka'etz Shatul, like the river planted by the streams of water. Isn't that from Psalm 46? There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God. His fruit will give in its time. Do you see how Ezekiel is doing that in terms of monthly? And its leaf will not wither. That's verbatim in Ezekiel. Everything which he does prospers. So I think this is presenting the tree of life as a person, and Ezekiel is tying that in with the heavenly temple. All right, well, do as much as you can. I look forward to our time together on Thursday, and hope you have a great rest of the week.